Hi everyone, I'm doing my Maxwell Leadership talk, and I thought today, since it is Elvis's birthday, I would sing for him. So I like a lot of his songs. There's many of them that I like, but I'm not going to put the record on today because it will probably be these 5,400 countries are all claiming copyright, 154. And you have to share monetization for music. I'm like, oh my God. Today, whatever you do, you offend somebody. So I know my friends like my singing with him, and other people, strangers, also like it. So if you don't like it and you don't like my post, please move on or unfriend me, because it's not being done to offend you. You're not the most important person in the world to me because you're connected with me. And I've lived most of my life alone, so I don't really feel too much when people get offended because I like Elvis. It really doesn't bother me. And you can see today is a bad hair day. If I had done my hair and straightened it and all that, I would be looking very different. But anyway, before I do my talk, I'm just going to sing Can't Help Falling in Love. And this is for Elvis for his birthday. Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. Shall I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you? Like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too, for I can't help falling in love with you. That's for Elvis. So for today's chapter for my Maxwell Leadership, I'm looking at leadership again. And I read another chapter on it. And today's chapter was looking at moral authority. So what is moral authority? I think moral authority is important to Gen Xers because we're the generation that we grew up with Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu and the likes of Mother Teresa. And I think it's about doing the right thing. But how do you decide what the right thing is to do? Because sometimes it's situational. Sometimes the laws that say this is the right thing are actually they're not good moral laws. Sometimes there are laws that are discriminatory. Sometimes there are laws that are racist. So moral authority is something that is not tangible. You can't take all the laws in the world and say, this gives you moral authority, because it doesn't. And why do people admire Ahmed Kathrada or Nelson Mandela or any of those leaders? Why do people admire them if they were coming up against what were the legal laws of the day? Those laws were right in the eyes of the world. They were good laws in the eyes of the world. They were laws that kept law and order in society. So why is it that our communities, somebody like me, would go and protest or go to a school that would have probably be considered the worst school in the world to go to? Why would you go to Wits University? which is standing up for all this diversity and equality and saying that, oh, women should also have jobs and women of color should also become graduates. Why would you? Because in that day and age, it was wrong. I mean, who did people like me think we were? We should show a little humility. We're not worthy of going to university or graduating or holding big paid jobs. Like, who do we think we are, really? Really? We'll take you and put you in jail for 27 years and then let's see what you have to say. Or we'll not let you work for 2 years. We'll let you stay at home. And then let's see. Think about it. Think about what you're doing. So that's exactly what happened in the 70s and in the 60s. And it's what's happening again today in our world. So this chapter, John Maxwell basically gives us some things to think about for our lives and for what we're doing with our lives. And natural authority comes from when people lead naturally. So some people are natural leaders. Some people are good speakers. Some people are good at naturally leading, but most of us are not. Most of us have to be taught how to speak, how to think, and how to lead. And he talks about different ways of viewing authority. So there's positional authority that comes from your title in an organization and your formal position, whether it's in the community or your family. And then there's knowledge authority that comes from what we know, what we can help others with, knowing what is good or what is bad, or helping society through our knowledge. And then there's situational authority that comes with qualified people, the most qualified people to lead in a certain situation. So for me, I'm not a doctor, but I do have my essential oil mixing and massage skills. So there are certain things I know, there are certain things I can help people with, but there's other things I'm not. I'm not qualified to do them. So in different situations, I wouldn't know how to respond. I wouldn't know what is the right thing to do. And so I would have to work with a team of doctors or team of other healthcare professionals who would know better than me how to help in certain situations. And then we have relational authority. People have built relationships with others, and that gives them the influence to lead. We have proximity authority. That's when people are close to an authority figure, and they can borrow from that leader's influence to lead. We have success authority. So if people are successful, if we graduated, if we have established ourselves in a country, we have credibility, and others want us to be a part of their team and a part of their success. And then we have mentoring authority, where we increase our influence because we mentor and we gain a reputation for credibility. And then in some organizations, you have seniority authority, or some cultures. So being an elder, having stayed with an organization a long time, they value that in some cultures. And because of that, they'll pay you more, they'll give you special treatment, they'll make exceptions for you, but not in all cultures. So not in Canada. In Canada, it's more of a contractual relationship. So he basically invites us to think about, what does moral authority mean in our lives? And where do we get that moral authority from? He also mentions that the highest compliment somebody can get is that the organization or the community will say, I know I can depend on you. I know you can always be the one who will step up for us. I know you will always be there. So that is a form of moral authority. And John Maxwell emphasizes this. When people have positional power, people follow because they have to. So they have to do something because somebody is in a position of authority over them. And if they don't do that, there'll be consequences, most likely negative for them. And then permissional is where people follow because they want to, and because they like spending time with others, or they enjoy spending time with them, and they're giving that person permission to lead them. Then production, that's the third level. People follow because you demonstrate competence. You demonstrate that you're able to do a job or to produce results. And then people development. When you're developing others, investing in others, the lives of those people improve. And so because of that, you gain credibility. And you find that when you're in a team, you'll find that when you are invited to step in for supervisors or to help to lead things, you'll find that in community, you'll find that in church. That's the next level. And then the pinnacle, people follow because you have a reputation for excellence. And you live your life in a way that they can see that it's authentic. And that's where John Maxwell says that true moral authority has been established, because they don't follow you because of your title or because you have authority over them. There's no carrot and stick approach. It's because of who you are and how you live that people will follow you. And he talks about courage, that if we have people on our teams, or if we are people who have moral authority, it takes courage, because often we're facing difficult or uncertain times. There's no roadmap. We are doing things that probably you're going to rub against the grain of society, or you can imagine salmon swimming upstream. It's not something that is comfortable when you're leading with moral authority. And courage enables each of us to realize our own potential, because it's like if you imagine a baby that you love. You don't want that baby to get hurt, so you put all the rules in place, or you pad your place so that, the sharp corners are covered, but you can't protect that baby from everything. And the baby will get hurt by life, by hard knocks. That doesn't mean we take away all the rules, but that's how people grow. And then they develop their own courage and they develop their own voice. And then he moves on from there to say that courage helps leaders find their own voice, which is what I already touched on. Because we don't want to be in a place where we're always speaking for others. And it can be a hard place. I mean, if you look at the leaders that I grew up with, Ahmed Kathrada went to jail. Many of our leaders in Africa went to jail because they had that moral courage to say that what you are doing to us and to our people and to our communities is wrong, and your law is not right. But at that time, people thought it was right. People thought it was good. So you find that changing today, even in our own world. In Canada, we have situations where racism comes into play in medical care, in psychiatric treatment or assessments. We have a higher incidence of that compared to other countries. We have a higher incidence of people of color getting jobs that are not good paid. So there are things like that that we push against, but it's not an easy journey. And it's not easy for the changes to come about. When we look at how we develop our moral authority, we have to be consistent, and we have to know that it's not always going to be easy for us to take a stand to do the right thing. Sometimes we think we're doing the right thing, and it turns out to be the wrong thing. But we learn from that and we grow and we carry on. It's like when you're making a cake. If you take all the ingredients of the cake individually, they taste awful. But then you mix them together, they still taste awful. When you bake that and you put it in the oven and you take it out, then it tastes good. And sometimes that's how life is. And we look at these to help ourselves to adapt to North America, to adapt to the culture here, to see what is it that is important in this culture that will help me to be successful, and then I can go and help others to be successful in this context here. So that's why we go out and we speak, we go to events, or we create these videos, because the intention is to do it out of love and to do it to help people, not to hurt people. Consistency establishes our reputation, because then people know that we have a positive reputation. Consistency makes team members more secure, because if one day we're doing this and tomorrow we're changing and saying, oh no, we're not doing it this way, we're doing it another way, it leads to burnout for our teams, for the organizations we're with, and even in our own communities. Too much change doesn't help anybody. And consistency allows for greater measurement of where we are achieving successes, where we are growing. It makes us relevant. It models expectations for others, because people see what they see us doing. They see what we are doing to help others, to help our communities, to build up our own lives, and then people will want to do the same. They may not do exactly what we're doing, but they'll find ways to build their own lives, to be consistent in their own lives, and to take that love and that hope out to their own communities. And then finally, what he touches on is being bigger on the inside than the outside. So what does that mean? It means having integrity. It means doing the right thing, even if we know there's no one watching, there's no police dog, there's no one monitoring us. It means, that's what it means to have integrity. And throughout our lives, we are trained to have integrity. If you're going to school every day, if you're part of a youth group, if you're part of an organization like a church, if you're working, you're developing integrity, because people can see that you're being consistent, you're delivering the results, you're interested in working. And all of those things compound the interest. They compound what you're doing, and over time, that integrity adds up. So when you come to a country and you're new, they don't believe in your authenticity. But over time, when you've been here a long time and you've been consistent, like for me, I volunteer in the church. I help with political organizations. I help with bringing about things that help women and girls in Canada and then overseas. I look for ways to use my skills. Even this talk that I'm doing, it's a way to become more influential and to use social media to help others. And John Maxwell says when we look back, he was asked questions about his own life, and when he looks back on them, they would ask, how would he define humility? First, you possess self-awareness and you can criticize yourself. Second, you are confident and comfortable enough that you don't feel any need to draw attention to yourself. And third, you revel in the accomplishments of others and are eager to help them shine. And I think that's good. I think that's a good definition of humility. It's not like being down on ourselves and saying that, oh, I've never accomplished anything in my life, or not valuing our gifts and our talents. Obviously, we do have to, but it's also knowing that we're also learning, we're also growing, we're also adapting to the situations that we encounter, and we're not going to know it all. We're going to learn as we go, and we're going to find the solutions as we go. For John Maxwell, the way he defines authenticity are three things. I will only teach what I believe, that's passion. I will only teach what I experience, that's confidence. And I will only teach what I live, that's authenticity. And every day we are humbled, because every day we see the effects of war, we see the effects of rising prices, we see the effects of poverty in Canada, and every day we are humbled and we thank God for the blessings that we have in our lives, and we thank God for those who have helped us along the way. And that's when we pay it forward, because we know that without that help, we wouldn't be where we are today. And there's an old saying, no man is an island. And that's true. Because whether you're learning, whether you're reading a book like this to help with leadership development, or whether you're volunteering, your life is touching others and others' lives are touching yours. So nobody is an island and nobody does it all on their own. And finally, it touches on love and how love is the highest authority. But again, I come back to those laws that I grew up with, the racist laws, the racism. To them, at that time, they thought that was loving. They thought it was the right thing to do. And people like me, who were in schools that were segregated and who grew up in poverty, were saying, no, it's not right. Maybe right for you, but it's not right for the rest of us. And so we have to think about, what does love mean? And there's that famous scripture, that passage from Corinthians about love, that love is patient, love is kind, love is not selfish. And when you think that St. Paul wrote that when he was in prison, it's quite difficult to imagine. Imagine sitting in prison and writing that. Or imagine being Nelson Mandela or Ahmed Kathrada and sitting in a jail and thinking that, this is my life, I'm going to be stuck here forever. And keeping that faith, keeping that hope, keeping that love, it's very difficult. So we have to think about what does it mean to be loving, and what do you want to do with your leadership? I think every one of us wants to make an impact. Every one of us wants to know that we made a positive difference in somebody's life, in our communities. We want to know that our lives counted for something. At least I do. And for something good. And to have big dreams. Not to say that, I just want to do this little thing. But to have big dreams. And to have dreams that are so big that without God's help we could never think of accomplishing them. If you ask me, did you ever imagine that you would become a certified HR professional, or become a Maxwell speaker, or mentor others, or help to lead in your community? I would say no. I was quite happy with my life. I was quite happy living in a small town and having a job and stability. I was happy with all of that. But out of necessity, I did the things that I have to do. And so moral authority doesn't come from just reading books or just modeling what others have done. Moral authority is bigger than that, and it's greater than that, and it comes from that love of wanting to help others, that love of life, that passion for living, and for truly understanding what is truly right and what is truly good. Because sometimes the things that are good for us, we don't see them as truly right or truly good. And so it's a process that I am going through. Just like everybody else, I'm learning as I'm growing, and I'm learning as I'm adapting. And every day requires adapting. Every day requires learning something new to do. Every day requires courage. And every day requires me being willing to pick up a book or watch a video or join a Maxwell call or an HRPA webinar, because things are always changing. And gratitude that God has brought me this far, that I have my health, that I have good doctors, that I have a place to live, and keeping on holding on to hope that I will get a job, that things will get better, not just for me, but for people in Canada, because we're going through a very, very hard time in this country. So I wanted to share those thoughts with you, and that was one thing that Minerva from the One Campaign and other people, other leaders on the One Campaign told me. They said, Belinda, we know we can always depend on you. We can always count on you. But I told all of them, Minerva was laughing. I said to her, I'm not joking. I'm very, very upset with Bono for not coming and for not taking me out to his events and not making time for me. And she said to me, yeah, I'll tell him. I said, yeah, make sure he knows. And it still didn't work. So after 7 years, I'm like, oh, wow, I'm not wasting my time here. So you have to make those decisions for yourself. And if you're putting in the work and everybody else is getting the time with those that you did the work for, are you truly valued? To me, that is not valuing me. So maybe there's things I'm not seeing, maybe there's things I'm not aware of. I don't know. But for me, that's not being truly valued. And for many of us, that's not being truly valued. So you see all these pictures here. You see? These are my favorite tennis players. But I never got to see them play live. Never. So that's sad for me. I wanted to see them, but I did get to see Andy Murray. So that's a blessing. And it's not easy with tennis because you don't know when they're going to play. It's not like other games where they say, oh yeah, this is the lineup and this is when these people are playing. You have to wait and you have to see, okay, who won this match and then when are they going to be playing? And then you have to phone and try to get the ticket. So it's not as easy. So for me, even those are blessings. When you get to see your favorite players or you get to go to a concert to support them, those are blessings to me as well. So we have to be grateful, and I am grateful for the things I have, but I'm very, very aware that I too have shortcomings. I have things that I still need to learn, places I need to grow in, and life goes by so fast. It goes, before you know it, it's like another 20 years have gone. So I try to take the time to appreciate the moments in each day. And I continue to be grateful for Elvis Presley's music, for his life, and to pray like we pray to the saints. We ask for the intervention of the saints. I ask for his intervention too, because my music is a big part of my life, and it's been a big part of my life from a young age. So it's good to appreciate it, and it's good to have it. But I don't think I'm going to see Bono again. It's sad for me, but you can only ask so many times, you can only try so many times, and then if you don't get the endorsement and you don't get the time, then it's time to move on and let new people come in and move forward with being open to where else that it is that God might be using you or God might be calling you. And sometimes you do have to fight for those opportunities, especially if you're a visible minority. Visible minorities, things don't come that easy for us. You do have to fight for them. And so that's what I would leave you with. That's my takeaways from that chapter and that book. This is not one of the books that we give talks on. I'm just sharing it because I like the book and I'm reading it, and I hope it helps others on the way. And I hope you don't get offended, because this is my journey and it's my experience, and I'm sharing it because I'm also building up my knowledge and skills, and it's part of the way that I mentor people by making these videos. Don't forget to say a prayer for Elvis today, his birthday.